You already know that Zillow and Redfin have been under fire for that $100 million, quote, deal to stop competing in the rental space. Well, now the FTC has just jumped in. That is a massive escalation because when the federal regulators take your case, you know it's no longer just a media headline. Now we have entered the territory where law enforcement is showing up. So here's what's new. On September 30th, 2025, the FTC filed a formal lawsuit alleging that Zillow and Redfin's agreement is illegal under antitrust law. They claim that Zillow effectively paid off Redfin to exit the multifamily rental advertising space, incidentally transforming Redfin's role from competitor to sycophant. If you guys have been watching my past videos, you'll remember the February deal. Zillow gave Redfin $100 million to hand over its rental ad business, agreed to stay out of the space for up to 9 years, and make Redfin only show the same listings Zillow shows. That was already shady, but now the FTC is saying it crossed the line from aggressive strategy into violation of Section 1 of the Sherman Act and Section 7 of the Clayton Act, meaning you can't pay a competitor to vanish and you can't acquire or suppress competition in a market you're supposed to compete in. The FTC lays out exactly what the deal entailed. Number 1, Redfin agreed to end existing contracts with advertisers and hand them over to Zillow. 2, Redfin agreed to stay out of the family ad space for 9 years. 3, Redfin agreed to act as a syndicator, basically a listing mirror of Zillow's inventory. And number 4, Redfin reportedly fired 450 employees tied to that side of the business, and Zillow allegedly got to cherry pick some of them. The FTC is very blunt. Here's a direct quote: "Paying off a competitor who stopped competing against you is a violation of federal antitrust laws." That's the heart of the complaint, you guys. They argue the deal will raise prices for advertising, reduce quality, kill innovation, and hurt both property managers and renters. It's not just the state's case anymore. Now the federal government is in, and that changes the dynamic. States may have lacked the resources to force Zillow's hand, but the FTC has more teeth, ability to demand restructuring, divestitures, or other structural changes. Now, you might hear Zillow and Redfin defending this, claiming, hey, we're just helping renters by consolidating listings, giving property managers more reach. Zillow's official line is that this listing syndication expands access and is pro-competitive and pro-consumer. Redfin, now under Rocket Companies, says they strongly disagree with the FTC's claims. They argue Redfin's ad business has become unprofitable, and this deal helps them cut costs and reinvest in rental site features. But here's what rubs. When your solution is paying competitors to leave, that doesn't sound like innovation. That sounds like monopoly power leveraging its size to choke competition. If you followed the channel, you remember me talking about how Zillow tried house flipping and got burned because you can't scale human judgment with an algorithm. Now it feels like they're trying to scale control. Control over listings, control over ad markets, control over your opinions. And this is a huge problem. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about this down in the comments? The FTC is asking for more than just a cease and desist. They want structural relief. That means divestiture, breaking up pieces of the business, making the companies rebuild competition, and more oversight. Here's the thing. If the FTC wins, this could reshape how online real estate platforms compete. It could force Zillow and Redfin to decompress their dominance in rentals. It could open room for smaller platforms or new entrants to show up. And it could make sure that renters and property owners aren't stuck paying fees set by duopolists. That was a fancy word. We're not there yet, you guys. These legal fights have a tendency to drag on and on and on. Zillow has very, very deep pockets. Redfin is backed by Rocket. There's going to be appeals, counterclaims, PR spin, and delays. But symbolically, this is a turning point. Regulators are signaling that housing tech is too big to please. And this is exactly why I do Deal Watch, because while corporate giants litigate behind closed doors, deals are forming all over your city. Discounts, price cuts, forced sales. And Deal Watch is where I track those shifts in real time. It's your front row seat to what's happening on the ground while suits argue in the court. If you want that, the link's down in the description. Free newsletter, weekly. We'll see you over there. So what do you think? Is it too late or just in time? Drop your take in the comments. Will the FTC strike a blow for competition, or will Zillow and Redfin walk away with a slap on the wrist? If this was helpful, hit like, smash the subscribe button, turn on notifications, because when the housing market is this concentrated, knowing who's being challenged and why matters. We all lose when listings are locked behind corporate deals. All right, see you on the next one. Bye!